The one thing that a lot of couples realize once they make the decision to move forward with separation and go forward with divorce is that there's financial concerns immediately because both parties may not know exactly where they stand or what's going to happen going forward. So, when people say separated, they think, well, one person moved out of the house, and
Exactly.
that's not
Yeah.
always the case. And again, one of the main reasons may be financial because both parties are trying to figure out where they stand financially, and so the one thing that parties may do for a period of time, it may be a month, it may be a couple of months, that they're going to stay together and try to figure out the finances, um, because the person who's earning less or is the homemaker may say, well, am I going to get child support? Am I
Right.
going to get spousal support? Am I going to get some kind of support where I can live on my own? And that may not happen for a period of time as well. So there is going to be some time where there's the decision made to separate, but you're living together. And again, primarily it's going to be for financial reasons.
What other kind of reasons come up, do you find?
Well, one thing that a lot of people take into consideration, um, and it's really one thing that is a great concern for people in any divorce is when children are involved. You are obviously going through a transition if you're going through a divorce. Your children are clearly going to go through a transition as well, with
Right.
you going through a divorce too. So one of the other reasons why people may stay together for a period of time is to for stability for the children. Um, and again, that's an important thing that people a lot of times see, that let's stay together for a period of time. Let's try to make it as easy as we can for the kids. Let's make sure that they understand that we are okay, that they will be okay.
Hmm.
So again, you may stay together for a month, 2 months, whatever, a couple months, whatever it may be, just to make sure that the children are okay as well.
That's another good reason. So what are some helpful tips to try to uh, get through that?
Yeah, and you have to think about that too, because really, if you are going to stay together, whether it's for
Mhm.
a month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever it may be, you're going to have to set some guidelines. And really, um, the one thing that you should do is really set some rules for each other. And it's not you're not trying to make it harsh on the other person or harsh on yourself. You're trying to just set some guidelines so it can be peaceful for both of you and for the kids. And really, when I say peaceful, that's one of the first things that you need to do is set rules, stick to them, but one of the most important things is remain civil with each other. You're going to have to do that. And especially where children are involved, it's important for you to do that because you want them to feel safe. You want them to feel comfortable. You want them to be able to work through the transition that's happening. And you certainly don't want to have disagreements or arguments or fights in front of the children during that
Mhm.
time where you have separated, but you're still living in the house together. The other thing that you want to do is maybe even try to set some time where uh, you can not only just have these meetings, but you can also set time where with people working remotely now, you may be able to set time where it's you're independent in the house for a period of time. That you may be able to set work schedules where your spouse goes to work 2 or 3 days a week and you go to work 2 or 3 days a week, but then you're home independently, so you don't have that crossover time where there is potential and possibility of arguments, disagreements, those kind of things. So you could set schedules like that. And then the other important thing is with children involved, you want to try to set some time with your kids too independently, because that's what's going to happen when you do have separate houses. So whether you can have at times where your spouse goes out of the house and you're alone with the children in the house, or you take the kids out just by yourself, because again, important to have time with the kids and important to have independent time. And then one of the last things that I think that people need to do, and it's one thing that can really be an argument item, is you are now single essentially, but living with your spouse.
Mhm.
So one of you or both of you may start dating during this time. And it's important at that point, I would think, to be discreet with the dating and not flaunt it, because that really can be an item that could create some issues and arguments within the house. So that's one thing where I think you really need to look at and just again be discreet with something like that.
Like, I could so see that happening. Do you have conversations with people? Are they in a mediation process sometimes, and this is going on? You have a lot of experience with all this.
Absolutely. In consultations, especially if I have couples that are together, I certainly go over some of these topics with them and make sure that they understand that there needs to be that they need to be civil with each other, and especially if children are involved, to make sure that there's not the fighting and the arguments and the disagreements in front of the children, and those kind of things. I absolutely cover those topics with them in the consultation.